5, okay. All right, at this time, I will call to order the September 17th meeting of the Borough Planning Commission. Could I have a roll call, please?
Brad Lynn,
Here.
Justin Evans, Mary Wickenheiser, Tiffany Lynn, Marilyn Kress Hartman, Nathan Roach, Derek Ronaldo.
Okay, thank you. Could we please stand for a moment of silence? Pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, approval of the agenda. I'm going to ask, I do not see a need for us to have this on here. I know this is something that they have for council, but I would question whether, I know when we were in setting the agenda last week, I kind of had some questions about us needing to do this. And I would ask if board members feel this is something that we need to do to approve our agenda each month. Or should we just make a motion to approve the agenda as presented? We will just do that each month. Okay, I have a motion from Tiff. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Justin. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we will keep that on there, but I think what basically we will do each month is just approve the agenda as presented. Okay. Paula's trying to get everything uniform with all of her. No,
That's great.
we discussed this. Okay, next on the agenda, I would ask for a motion, consideration to approve the Planning Commission minutes for August 20th, 2024. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion from Justin. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And that was Tiff. Okay, one thing I would ask is some uniformity here. Under the action items, preliminary final subdivision for Rivertown Summit, the first two sentences there refer to Linden Avenue. And then later down, it is referred correctly as Linden Street. So I would ask that where Linden is referred to as Avenue, that be corrected to Linden Street. Like down in Roman numeral, down in 2, it is Linden Street, but up in the beginning there, it's listed as Linden Avenue. That would be the only thing I would ask to be corrected there. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. At this point, as I said before, I will defer approving workshop minutes until we have a workshop meeting. So those will be deferred to the next meeting. Okay, moving on. We have no zoning hearings. Derek, we have no engineer's review of Saldo applications, am I correct?
Nothing new this month, no.
Okay, we have no demolition applications. Any public comments or questions? I would note that we currently have the newly appointed borough manager, Steve Caulfield, in attendance, and Alex Kinsley, who is the newly appointed zoning manager for the borough. Okay, Thank you.
Zoning officer.
Zoning officer. Thank you for the,
It's okay.
Thank
Nobody
you.
gets the wrong.
no title, wrong title. Okay, so moving on to action items. There was discussion last month regarding the proposed subdivision land development plan for the McGinnis properties. We did review this last month. Derek did make a presentation on it. At that time, we had no comments from Lancaster County Planning, which we have received. I would also note that the parties involved, all of those listed as parties to this, the property owners, did receive notification of this, as well as copies of the plans, which we reviewed last month. So,
Those plans that were included in the packet and along with the plans that are in your packet have actually been revised since last month to address the comments we received from Lancaster County. I did not include another revision, but I can tell you there was a small change that we had to make with how we were showing some of the building setback lines. Nothing that changes the boundary or anything. Honestly, if you probably pointed out, you probably wouldn't see it, but we will have one more revision after this. But generally, what we're seeing is
okay. And will this will not be a revision that will affect the property boundaries?
correct. Property boundaries are set as such. Again, it's just showing that we had a little blunder where the medium density residential changes to light business, and we didn't change the setback lines to onto that zone change.
Okay,
So that's
Good
it.
catch.
okay. So,
Well, I think last month, the only thing that we couldn't take action because the county planning hadn't reviewed it yet.
Yeah, the plan, again, and the boundary lines on this plan are exactly the same as what you saw last month.
last month.
Yeah,
So,
so just updated some notes and text and some information.
yeah, because there was,
And I must say, Mary, we had a lot of fun making sure that we had Susan's address correct.
her mailing address as opposed to her property address?
Well, the property address is both. It's 1200 and 1208.
Mm-hmm,
And the deed, the mailing address is 1208.
mm-hmm.
The deed says 1208, also known as 1200.
Yeah.
She actually has an alias on her deed. As I was doing my final check to make sure that the recorder of deeds wasn't going to reject this one, good, record it. I don't know if I've ever seen that one before.
But you got Wickenheiser spelled right.
Yes, I did. I did say that. I knew you'd be on me.
Okay, there's number 4 comment here regarding the access agreement
Yes, there's
and maintenance.
So there is an access easement proposed on Mr. Steiner's driveway.
Oh,
That would
okay,
lead to potentially a future parking lot for the recreation area in the back.
okay,
So we're including that access easement on this plan. There will be a separate agreement that will need to be recorded, and we'll work that out with Mr. Steiner. That's not, so that easement won't be, it's shown on this plan, but our intention would be to have a separate agreement in terms of conditions and we'll work that out.
okay. So the approval by planning commission this evening would then lead to getting the parties involved in here for the signing party.
Yeah, our next step, if planning commission votes to approve the plan this evening, it will go on council's agenda next week, so the council can authorize the execution and recording of the plan, so basically the borough can sign off on it, because it's your plan. Once the borough formally then, so they're not approving the plan, they're approving
The deeds.
the deeds and the recording of it and authorizing the proper borough officials to sign it. So once that happens, then we'll feel comfortable having the property owners sign. We did throw out there about having them come in before it would be the second Tuesday in October. I'll be here, the borough solicitor will be here for the meeting already, and we'll have a
Never
notary
read them.
get them to sign the plan. We'll have the new deeds ready. I don't know if there's gonna be pizza or not. But we'd like to try to knock as many out as we can at night, and if it doesn't work for someone, then we will arrange for an appointment to get it taken care of. That'll be the fun part, is getting, 12 plus signatures on this point.
So the motion you would be looking for this evening from Planning Commission would be, and someone has to make this. I will not be able to vote on this as my daughter is one of the parties involved. So someone is going to have to, if Derek would like to word the motion, if Justin feels comfortable, if someone feels comfortable moving this in whatever direction Planning Commission feels to go with this plan.
It is. Sure. Is that better? Sorry. Sure, the motion for this evening is the approval of the subdivision plan for the McGinnis Airport. Simple as that. There aren't really going to be, the only conditions present would be signatures and seals of the plan, and frankly, we're in control of that, so
Okay.
we can give it a carte blanche approval tonight.
I'll make a motion to grant approval of the final subdivision plan for McGinnis Airport.
I'll second that.
Any further comments? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I will abstain, so motion carries 5-1. Thank you. Derek, while we're on the subject of the McGinnis Field, at council, the last council meeting I was at, and Steve was part of this discussion even, the property at 700 Franklin Street where the house is located.
Yep.
Could you give Planning Commission a little taste of what is happening there? There is a house on that property.
Sure, so that property was purchased by the borough, independent of the sale. It was owned by Mr. Klein. And the borough purchased that property after they purchased the majority of the airport property from the McGinnis's. In the master plan for the McGinnis Innovation Park, the main street connection would be an extension of Franklin Street to meet 11th. So if you think of where the entrance is to the former McGinnis homes that we've since demolished, there would be a big grade change there on 11th Street would come southwardly into the property and connect with an easterly extended Franklin. Well, if you extend Franklin Street, it will go directly through that house. So it has to move. What we're evaluating right now is whether the borough wants to just demolish that house or whether there's any opportunity to relocate the home. So at the last council meeting discussed potentially putting out bids for someone to put a bid on buying the home with the stipulation if you move. Manager Koffel brought up that there is a possibility the land bank could be interested in it. And if that's the case, the borough could work directly with the land bank and not even have to bid the project, which frankly saving $500 on the advertisement would be pretty awesome. So we've, I just talked to Heather about this actually a couple of days ago, and at this point, we're going to table any action on making a decision on that until Steve can get his manager and we can have a discussion on that with his connections. So probably in the next month or two, you'll hear a final decision.
Derek, I just thought as part of this project, that was something that this planning commission should know about.
Sure.
That was one of there's so many pieces to this project.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's it. We'd love to see the house saved and moved elsewhere. It was just kept in very good condition. It's a, the build of the home,
mhm.
nice square house with a basement. You can get right under and pick it up, This isn't like the McGinnis house, like we couldn't move that. Built
No.
this in one, so,
All right, thank you for that
you
update.
bet.
Okay, I will say that was our discussion item. I have nothing under old business this evening unless someone has something to bring up. Under new business, we have the STR ordinance. I thought Jess was going to be here tonight. Okay.
I'm gonna pinch hit for Jeff. She's been in New Jersey since Sunday.
Ooh.
So, yeah,
Right.
so she really wanted to be here though. It was her intention.
Okay, so we basically, what we had last month was the copy from Solicitor Gable with his comments and highlights. And I thought that we had pretty well hashed this out last month, that we were good with what had been suggested regarding the STR, and that we were ready to move this to council. I think one of the things here was tying this to the nuisance ordinance, that was one of,
Oh, yeah, right.
The
Things are being
things-
taken out
right,
and put into a nuisance.
right.
Yeah.
So, I know that one of the things there in that very beginning, one thing we changed was we didn't want the person in charge to reside approximately, we wanted them within 15 miles. The fees are something that would have to be done by
I have enough-
resolution, okay?
Yeah, before we get into, you have two highlights on your
Right,
current copy. Jess corresponded with Solicitor Gable today. Evan's opinion is that the insurance, he's recommending $1 million.
okay,
And that's in just researching other municipality short-term rental ordinance that he believes $1 million is appropriate.
that was under permit requirements, item 11.
And his other opinion is that the proposed fees seem reasonable. He didn't have any concern with the fees being proposed.
Okay,
Correct. So I think those were in me reading through this, those seem to be the two open questions coming into tonight.
okay.
So the ordinance will be ready next month, the final version, the ordinance.
It should be.
Yeah, if you pass this on tonight, then council will review it. And they
Gotcha.
basically make your they'll have to authorize the advertising.
Got
Right.
it. Then we will properly, or will legally make a recommendation on
Right.
the ordinance at
Right.
that time, when it's an
Yeah,
ordinance.
I will have to see. I don't know if the recommendation will go on next week's agenda or if it'll wait until October. If we can, maybe we'll sneak it on the next week, but I don't want to speak for council.
Okay.
Those will be the next steps. It'll go to council, they'll authorize advertisement of the ordinance, and then at a future meeting, they'll approve it.
Okay, but what we would be doing tonight is authorizing this to go to council for their review.
Correct.
With the solicitor's changes.
Okay.
And you may recommend adoption as well. If you give your seal of approval behind it. Sure.
Please speak to the parking side and speak in here, just as on-site parking. What are the restrictions for parking when you have basically one event and an event couple? I'm just trying to understand that.
So it looks like leaves the way the ordinance is written, it leaves it open for interpretation. I would assume, and I'll have to check with Jess on this. Whoever is going to administer the short-term rental permits, it gives that reviewer the leeway to say, yeah, that's enough parking, or this isn't enough parking. So you're required to provide that sketch showing the location and the number. I think it's going to be up to the borough whether that's appropriate or not. It does have to meet, parking does have to meet the zoning ordinance requirements. So if your zoning ordinance is saying, hey, you need 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit, then the short-term rental ordinance would be enforcing that. It shall not include any public street right-of-way parking,
Right.
any parking on lawns or vegetated areas.
Any further discussion?
I have a question for me.
Yes.
Can you approve this as is? At this time, we're still waiting on a few things for the nuisance ordinance. So, you know, the times and all,
Yeah.
it would have to be up.
Well, I think at this stage, the ordinance can be passed along to council. And as council works through the nuisance ordinance, this can be updated. Like council is free to make changes to this, and it wouldn't necessarily have to come back to the planning commission.
And I think Jess had said that we really didn't have to hold this up
Right.
pending the nuisance ordinance adoption, that could be put into this once that is adopted.
There'll probably be an ordinance that pulls things out of all the different chapters and then creates the nuisance code.
Right. Okay, wishes of planning commission with regard to the STR ordinance before us.
I'll make a motion to send the draft ordinance for short-term rentals to Borough Council for consideration to prepare an ordinance.
Do I have a
I'll second that
second?
motion.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion to send the short-term rental ordinance to council.
I just want to verify it's with the changes. You'll take out approximately
Right,
and then keep it at $1 million for.
yes,
Yeah, I'll amend my motion
Thank
to
you.
specify those changes.
changes. Okay. Any other comments with regard?
I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what we're doing here. At this point, if we send this on to council, it does not come back to us at any point, or
No, it would not.
The ordinance itself doesn't. But the ordinance has to. Because it's got to go to the county too. But that's for you, that's.
You're
up
asking
for
the
other-
attorney questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I think you just make sure with the solicitor, I think the actual ordinance has to be passed to both the planning agencies, the local and the county for review. I think, but,
because, you know what, because it's a zoning amendment, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're right.
so it
You're
would
right.
come
So
back
I
to
would- So
us.
forget what I said before. What you're passing along here is the framework of an ordinance. It's not the actual ordinance. So that's what will happen, is council will have to authorize the ordinance to be created, advertised, and submitted. Once it's submitted to the county for comments, it'll come back to this planning commission with the county comments. You'll get a shot at it, and then it'll go to council for adoption.
But I think,
Right, because with it, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no,
In
Push your
addition,
button.
in addition to having the disorderly conduct or noise ordinance, we also discussed the fact that the zoning districts were going to be changed and combined, and that may affect which ones are actually included in this.
So at this time, what we would be doing is forwarding this to council to be put into ordinance form and to be submitted to Lancaster County Planning for their review.
Council, I don't think you need to go that far. Just forward it to council, and then council will have to act
Okay.
to authorize the ordinance to be created and advertised.
And for Nathan's sake, I mean, the point is, you know, to me, last month, my thoughts were, we were tasked with coming up with an updated ordinance.
Mhm.
And the ball is gonna be in the council's court to say, no, we don't like these districts, or we want more, we want less. This is our best effort to provide something for them. If they want to make different changes to it before it comes back as an ordinance, they can do that.
Right. So the questions that we have about the districts will get answered before it comes back to us for a final.
Yeah, because last month we did talk about, it would probably be good, at least for council, to have a map to see where all
Right.
the, because we just want to avoid people making a decision and not knowing where it's going.
Having not seen that, I would say, like, I'm fine with to vote yes to move this on to council as long as we're going to get to see that eventually and then be able to vote again on the final approval of the ordinance.
Because that was the one thing I did ask Jess last month, was to provide a map showing the districts that it would be allowed in to be part of, of this.
Okay, so my motion's still good.
I think your motion's still good, yes, to forward to council. Okay,
We
so,
just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page as to
Yeah.
what we were actually doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want to have the map and have that included before it goes to our council?
I think it would be helpful for them to see it
For
too.
council.
If it's,
Yeah.
if it's something that we feel would be helpful to us, I think it would be helpful to them also.
So,
I'll take care of that.
well, all we can do is to then, when we can get it in what meeting,
Sure.
to get it to our council.
Sure.
And then we can-
Yeah, I don't think it'll be ready for next week,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's-
we'll shoot for that second Tuesday in October.
Okay. All right, we have the motion from Justin, second from Tiff. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This is going to be a short one tonight. Okay. Our next meeting is October 15th. At this point, I don't know of anything specific we will have for that meeting. You'll be getting your agenda. Any comments from the public? Any comments from planning members?
I just have one request if I can.
Sure.
Can you provide me with a full-size drawing of each grid?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's just a nice map.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. And I would just remind, we are still looking for another member for the planning commission. So anyone who is interested, please contact the borough.
Everyone, please watch your step as you leave council chambers this evening.
Yes, there's
Get
a,
ready for Third Street paving.
and
Our
it's,
ADA ramps, and we also fixed all the.
yeah, you did some
cracked up
different
sidewalk around.
blocks out there too. This was a busy block today.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't, the timing wasn't the best, but
I came down here, they were trying to load a JLG on a big rollback. The Miller was out here jackhammering. These guys are down here doing curbs and ADA and other, this was crazy in this block this morning. Yes.
Right.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Tiffany, do I have a second? Okay, Marilyn seconded.
Marilyn,
Okay, so at 7:29, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Oh.
You guys.
It says Steve's running a tight ship. All right.